Mark.
Welcome everyone to our podcast. It's me, Zero, here with.
Decade.
Rye.
And VashieV. We're here for Kamen Rider Ex-Aid episode 23, The Max Dead or Alive. The episode starts with Kyotaro telling the writers over video chat that if they don't stop Dan within the next few days, they will be expelled from CR and stripped of their ability to become writers because they ignored directions from the Ministry of Health and took him back to CR to cure him, and he got away, and the fact that the gamer driver was destroyed. Taiga says that to beat Dan, they need to use the new Gashat. And seeing as this is Poppy and Emu's first time seeing the Gashat, they're surprised by it and are told that it has Kiria's reprogramming of the Bugster virus program inside it. There's an emergency call, and Hiro says he'll stay behind to examine the new Gashat and trades Taiga the new Gashat for the Gear Duel Beta. Any comments?
Like I said last week, I like how they're sharing the power-up. It's something we haven't had before, and it's really neat.
For me, I'm still trying to figure out how the Ministry of Health found out that the gamer driver was destroyed. Nobody was around when it happened. But
Emu probably reported that.
Either they reported it, or it kind of makes sense that the Ministry of Health has a way to, I guess, track the gamer drivers and whether or not they're working or anything. But that would be my only guess, because like literally when it just got destroyed, nobody was there.
Also, Emu had his broken driver on the table during the video chat, and we didn't hear that full conversation. So it's possible that Kyotaro was like, "What happened to that? That's expensive."
That makes sense. It's like, and then for me, it's like I'm liking that Taiga and Hiro are starting to work better together, despite having like different outlooks on things when it comes to being a doctor. It's like, but yeah, seeing them being able to go, yeah, it's yours this week.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, that they're sharing it.
Right. I think actually what happened is like they filed the report of what happened and then he called them because like he says like I can't cover your ass for letting Dan go and getting one of the drivers destroyed. So the thing is like technically Laser is dead and they didn't want him to be a rider because he blackmailed himself into getting one. Taiga shouldn't have one because he bought his back because he was unlicensed. So technically the two doctors under the health ministry are Hiro and Emu just fucking got his destroyed, so they're left with one. So I'm pretty sure, bureaucrats somewhere losing their shit. That's why he had to make that call.
Someone needs to fire their PR person.
Well, they go to Ganem Corp, and Dan comes out saying that Emu has guts coming, to fight without a gamer driver, and he's still all busted up, so not a lot of time has passed between the episodes. But Emu says that he does have one, and he pulls out Kiria's old driver, which is accompanied by yet another feel-heavy flashback of Kiria dying. Snipe goes Bang Bang Simulation, and Emu goes Mighty Brothers Double X. Hiro appears already transformed and tosses the new Gashat to Emu. And after seeing the new Gashat, Dan gets pissed off because yet another new game has made that he didn't authorize. Hiro begins kind of explaining why Emu should be the one to use it, and because it was the fact that he was able to use his powers of game ideas to create Mighty Brothers, which is basically stemming from the fact that he used to want to make games as a kid and kept doing fan mail and whatnot, I guess. He tries using the new Gashat, but it fails to do anything, and he ends up being knocked out of his transformation.
So just one thing that I liked at the kind of beginning of the scene with Zombie Ganem and his bugsters attacking the Ministry of Health people is that we finally get to see what I guess the bugster virus versus humans, and yeah, the humans just totally got destroyed. They had like guns and shit on the floor, but they were still getting wrecked by the Bugster virus. So I thought that was nice to see.
So I really enjoyed Hero walking up to get him from behind and just knocking him out with his sword in that one shot. Like he just falls right over in that one hit while Hero is talking to Emu about how to use the gas shot or whatever.
Yeah, that was great. That's what I was thinking of too. It's like I love the sound effect. I'm like whoever was doing sound design, so on point. Um, yeah, that was weird though because Genom should be able to take that hit, but it was just too damn funny.
That's what makes it even funnier.
Yeah, it was just too great not to include.
Apparently, Kiria was looking for the original Bugster virus, and this was the true reason why he was killed. Yet, a third reason that he's been killed that we've been given. And since all the Bugsters and Gashats came from the virus that Emu has been infected with, it is the original strain, which should give him the powers to make, which is apparently what gives him the ability to make new Gashats. Emu's, this entire time, they're battling Genom during all of this. Emu's just standing in the back, reattempting the henshin, and it's just doing nothing. Genom keeps trying to attack Emu, but Hero is holding him off, and eventually he ends up getting beat to the point that he is knocked out of his transformation. After Hiro turns to Emu and tells him that Kiria entrusted him and everything, trusted him and entrusted everything to him, Emu has that flash to M and creates the new Gashat called Maximum Mighty X with a power inside of him, and then it is gamer level 99, and it looks like Gurren Lagann meets Kamen Rider
Meets Kill la Kill.
Well, one thing about the whole transformation in the new form, if this Rider show had like a mediocre story and kind of okay characters, this form would just, no one would like it. Would be like, oh god, what is this thing? This is hideous. This is just level 1 and 2 combined with some gold shiny on it. But it's just the whole culmination of what Emu's been through and what fucking Dan has put him through, and how his eyes light up, and now he's found the resolve to fight back. And yeah, it was just, plus with the little jingle, it's just an awesome moment and totally adds to the suit, regardless of how silly it might look. It's just infinitely more badass with all of that. The show story is so great. And thus the forms become even greater.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Like, if this show wasn't as good as it is, this is one of those forms that might have killed the momentum of most other shows. But like, this show does it so well. Also, is Emu like a headmaster now?
What do you mean?
Transformers.
Oh, I haven't seen that much Transformers.
Okay, basically a headmaster is like, if you have like a small robot and it transforms and it becomes the head of like a bigger one.
For me, the best part of this was while like the camera was focused on Genom and Hero, struggling, Emu's in the back just opening and closing the shot. The driver trying to get the shot to work, which I thought that was amazing just to see.
Yeah, is that what like we gotta shoot it again and again? As like this is what a normal henshin sequence looks like without all the effects.
And with in the notes, because I'm not the one who took the notes, it was Slider who couldn't make it. He says, I think we're cutting into 2019 CGI budget at this point.
Nah, it'll be fine. With all the toy sales, they'll make back their money.
Yeah.
Because after transforming to level 99, he begins to wreck Genom.
Before that, I want to point out that when he announces that he's level 99, Poppy starts counting down on her fingers as if that's going to help her. And I love how Nico gets excited, like, level 99, that's the maximum level.
At that, it's like, that's max level, and I'm like, I just want to see O's just standing right on the side. It's like, yes, that's how you go beyond. You just get an O's form, which he has, right? Because of the Legend Rider shit.
The power to, what was it, go beyond infinity or something?
Yeah, beyond infinity, because it's like infinity is the 2 zeros, and it's like the third zero is beyond infinity. It's like the dumbest thing, but I'm like, you're explaining it using cake frosting. At this point, like, I don't know how serious I'm supposed to take this. Because he just literally takes like cake frosting and draws on the table because he was like putting it on top of the cake before, and then O's came. That's so dumb, but it's freaking great.
Transcend, that was the word he used. The power to transcend infinity.
Sure. Whatever. Cake Boss is pretty awesome, so
Cake
I
Boss
can buy
could
it.
destroy the world. It probably will one day.
Especially if he keeps collecting all the medals.
I know. I mean, he almost did in that damn O's movie.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I mean, if it wasn't a time loop, they might have fucked up there.
Oh, the fight starts with Emu in level 99 and using the sword, and he just literally just begins wrecking Genom. He ends up reprogramming Genom's immortality, and the Rider health bar gauge reappears and is active, and he ends up draining it down to one itty bitty sliver. But Emu refuses to kill Genom, even though he'll lose the right to be a Rider. But this is because he was a doctor before he was a Rider. Taiga is mad that Emu didn't kill Genom. Dan decides he's going to go off now at this point because he ran away, because somehow he always gets away. He decides to, I guess, imitate a bird while looking for patients to infect Dragon Hunter Z and Do-Re Mi Fa Beat.
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you clearly see he's lost his shit, but the other weird thing is, like, his driver just has, like, the Bugster infection, like, ready to go. It's like, what does he need the Gashats for? Like, shouldn't he need, like, proto versions of those Gashats to infect people? Like, this is one of those weird things. It's like, yeah, I see for the story purposes this makes sense, but I'm like, how the fuck does this work? Are, like, people more likely to catch it? And in a group of, like, 20 people, nobody became a Bugster? And, like, don't you normally need, like, one Gashat per person? Like, it was one of those weird things, but I'm like, yeah, everything else worked. That's one of those, like, iffy moments. It's not bad, it's just a little iffy.
The Bugster virus triggers with stress, so if he picks a target that is very content and doesn't get stressed out, he effectively wasted an opportunity.
Yeah, fair enough. It's still weird that, like, you infected a playground. Like, holy shit, a plague just broke out. Ah, it's fine. We can survive this. I'm like, oh yeah. I guess they lived through the ending of Wizard. They must be used to this shit by now. Or close to the end of Wizard. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Well, while Dan is off being cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, Hooray! Because that's what he is at this point. He is literally cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
I know, right? That's like the best description.
Parado shows up and asks Emu why he hesitated in killing Genom, since he's already pretty much good as dead, and that if Emu doesn't defeat the last boss, the world is pretty much doomed. Taiga and Nico show up in where Dan is and confront him, and then Hiro, go ahead.
This episode really gets into Ryuki territory. It's like when the other riders in Ryuki were trying to figure out, like, how do we kill Oja, because that's the best thing to do, and then Ryuki's like, no, we can't let anyone die, including him, even though he was literally, he caused the most deaths in that series.
Well, Shiro probably, but yeah, OJ directly probably killed more people. Um, yeah, but then again, like he's weird because he's a popular character, and that's what happens when it's like you're making a Toei show. Like if an exec says, "All right, this character has to stay because they're popular," it kind of fucks up your balance. That was one of the dumbass things. Like, all right, we don't want anybody to die. I'm like, that's an interesting stand, kiddo, but like Oja is fucking dangerous, so I don't know. I never fully bought that was the smartest stand because like Kiddo's whole thing is like, yeah, all right, I don't want anybody to die, and he's also like, okay, I'm gonna do what Tezuka sort of started and stop this Rider War. But I'm like, even if Tezuka was here, I think he'd probably say like, yeah, Oja is too far gone.
With before we jump to the next scene, and I do have a comment on the interaction of Parado and Emu, is this has literally been every interaction that they've had in terms of when actually having a full conversation is literally, you should do this because here's the plus side to it. It's been complete manipulation from the start, and Emu has more or less fallen for it to at least a certain degree, and which I'll get back into once we get further into this episode.
I just want to say one thing that I'm really curious as to how Emu's Bugster virus is going to play out, because at this point, it's pretty much a part of him, and he's created 2 cash outs with it, and he fights alongside it with Mighty Brothers. It's really strange, but really awesome, and I'm just wondering if that's going to be like the final arc or the second to final. I'm really curious.
I want the line between Emu and the Bugster to get blurry as we get deeper into this series.
They started slightly blurring that when they had M take over, because they had they did it in a way where it made you question which one is real, because of everything that even now it kind of seems like M could still be the real personality with the way everything is led up to it, because M has entirely just focused on games, which everything from his past seems to correlate with perfectly, whereas the Emu and the doctor thing is the part that's different. I mean, I get the idea that it could be one of those, he had it from when he was in the hospital and got saved and whatnot. It's like, but it's they've written it in a well where they could literally do exactly that, where they start to blur it to where you don't know, to where it's no longer certain which one's in control at what time, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. That would be an interesting take. I mean, like, I think like Kiva is probably the only one. I mean, like you could say Blade, but that's more of a different situation. Like Kiva is straight up like, okay, we should just get along with these guys. It's gonna be hard as hell, but like we can figure it out. And I hope that's where this show goes, because like, man, the last time we had like AI, we just murdered the hell out of them, and then they got resurrected in movies. But fuck that. We're not doing Drive again, okay? Let's try to like go with the you can't separate the Buckster. You're just one being now, and like the line just gets blurred, and it's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna just murder all of them, or we're gonna just figure out some way to live together?
The red shoes
The red shoes? What?
from Kabuto. The red shoes that would keep them fighting. It's a metaphor from Kabuto. I won't explain it.
I think I know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah, it's been a while since I watched Kabuto though.
Moving along. Hiro shows up and tries to stop Taiga from killing Genom, since at this point all they really need to do is take his shot and not kill him, even though Genom gives Brave a sound beating. Emu shows up out of nowhere, because that's what they all do now, and says that he will change Genom's fate, holds up level 99, And for the first time beyond level 1, it is not Dai Henshin. Instead, it is maximum Henshin. And goes level 99, and Genom does his let's create multiple versions of himself. With each of the doctors taking on Genom, Hero as Brave, level 2, and Taiga as level 50 Bang Bang Simulations. They pretty much all wreck Dan. Ex-Aid does a maximum critical break, and Brave and Snipe do their respective finishers in their own forms, which led to very bad CG in my opinion, but understandable with the way they do it, based on explanations from Zero earlier before the podcast. It knocks Dan completely out of his transformation, and he tries to transform again, but Dangerous Zombie is doing nothing, no sound, no nothing. Because Emu reprogrammed the Bugster virus antibodies within Dan with his maximum critical break. Therefore, Dan is no longer a compatible user and can no longer transform. Which, I saw this coming when it popped up, of that they were going to do the reprogramming Gashat idea. I had a feeling this was gonna go, but the fight itself was nice, and it seemed legit for the way that the characters were written. Any thoughts?
The CGI in that fight aside, just ignoring the blatant green screen, watching it play out was like, I paused the video, I rewound it, and I watched it again. It has its obvious faults if you look too closely, but just sitting it back from a distance, it looked pretty good. Just the chorus of finishers, one after another.
For me, it's like it was the final green screen that I had the problem with. It's like when I first saw level 99, because just like everybody else who's probably saw it for the first time, it was in the still picture. It looked terrible, but seeing it in action with the way, at least for the fighting itself, how they blended the practical and CGI with it made it look amazing, and I loved it.
I just thought that the whole, the fact that each of the riders got to fight the mid-season boss at the same time was pretty damn awesome. Even though obviously two of them are just clones, it was still pretty awesome to get all of that 1v1 action in the same fight.
Like I said, the chorus of finishers was great.
This is one of the first series that's done the let's have a bad guy turn into literally 3 different versions of itself just to do this. In my opinion, am I correct in thinking that?
Usually, the finishers will all be on the same target. Agito, there was one fight where I think they all did a finisher on a different target, but it didn't quite flow like this one did.
Yeah, this was interesting. What you guys said, pretty much what I was thinking too. It's pretty nicely done for the most part. Couple things, like, okay, wasn't Snipe all like, what the hell, you let him go, you should have just killed him, and then he goes like, there's gonna be more casualties, and then like right afterwards we see like, I'm like, you're just saying that, because you guys are like the hard asses, but like right afterwards he just attacks a playground. I'm like, holy shit, show. You actually showed that, yeah, that insanity can happen, and I was like, okay, they're being harsh, but like, yeah, realistically this was a very high possibility and they actually showed it. That's impressive. Another thing is like, Snipe says like, what the hell, why'd you let him go, you should have killed him, right? And like Emu's like, I'm a doctor and all that shit, and like later on when like Emu just shows up ready to fucking like end Genom, and like Snipe's like, dude, he's fucking serious, we should fucking stop him, or basically that's what he looks like. I'm like, what do you want to do, Snipe? Like, do you want to just bitch at this point, Taiga? Because like, I get that you want to finish it because like you don't want Emu to fucking be a murderer or whatever. So you're probably just being a hard ass. But like, that was a little inconsistent. But other than that, it's pretty good. The other thing was like, oh shit, it's the freaking I don't want to kill, so I'm gonna freaking find a way to neutralize the powers from Avatar. But I'm like, yeah, at the end of Avatar, like, yeah, they do the whole holy shit. You don't have to be a killer or anything. Like, yeah, Emu does that, except it doesn't end well for Genom.
I think what that was with Taiga was that he's gotten so used to Emu and his convictions that to see what looked like Emu doing a 180 and actually going for it caught him super off guard.
Yeah, I could see that, especially because they know he's like part Bugster now, so like maybe they were super worried. Okay, that's a decent enough explanation.
Oh, Parade shows up and says that Emu is being boring and proceeds to steal the dangerous zombie and the bug visor. Pareto then sprays Dan with it, which causes him to get a game over, while at the same time stopping Emu and everybody else from rushing in to, I guess, save him, because I guess that worked with Taiga, or not Taiga, Kiria. What are you gonna do? But yes, Parado kills Dan. Slider's note is, damn, didn't see that coming. Now who will chew the scenery for us?
I'm sure we can find someone. The director will probably come back. He's gonna meet his quota somewhere.
Nico asks Taiga if it's finally over, and Taiga says that as long as there are Bugster left, the fight will never be over, while holding the jet combo Gashat.
Yeah, that's a very classic like Kamen Rider line.
Parado declares that he will realize the dream Genom yearned, holding the Kamen Rider Chronicles Gashat, which the only thing I have an issue with the Gashat is the artwork on it is, I guess since it's not finished, it literally just says Kamen Rider Chronicle. Kyotaro tells CR that they have done well, and the director and Poppy celebrate, while Hiro holds Do Re Mi Fa beat Gashat, and Emu holds the Giri Giri Chambara Gashat. Emu seems upset that he did something to Kuroto, I guess, to get him killed, or started this whole everything that's going on by giving him the game idea and turning him into a nutbag. Kyotaro tells Emu to be proud of what he has done since he has saved mankind, because I guess nobody told Kyotaro that what Parado has planned. And Hiro tells Emu that how he deals with lives that have been lost is also an important part of being a doctor. And then the episode ends with Emu standing on the roof of the hospital crying.
I mean, it's just great because this whole time, ever since Kiria died, he's probably had this vision of, okay, we're gonna get justice, but no more people have to die. And then he thinks he has that moment when he reprograms Dan's Bugster virus, and it just all falls apart right in front of him. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty deep moment and pretty well done, especially when he's looking at the Giri Giri Chambara Gashat.
Is that what that black Gashat he was holding at the end was? Giri Giri Chambara?
Yes. I at least according to the notes I have, I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah, this was a super well done episode. Who would have thought that the secret to defeating Dangerous Zombie was to use a game genie?
Oh my god, that's great.
It's basically what it is.
Yeah, pretty good episode. Interesting ending with Emu crying. I mean, like, this happens, but it's pretty rare in writer shows. But it's also consistent with this show, where it's like, Hero defeated Graphite, and like it wasn't satisfying, and like Emu defeats like Dan, or and it's not what he wanted. It's like justice and vengeance and doing the right thing and all that. It kind of gets real complicated in the writer world, and you know what? It's kind of nice to have like a little bit more subtlety of like, well, the writer did the right thing, but like they're not gonna be super happy about it. As like they can't move on because like this was a part of their life, it affected them. And it's one of those things like as a viewer, it's like yeah, it gets us a little, but like if we were actually doing the shit that Emu just pulled, like it would probably hit us a lot harder. It all depends on what like this sets up because like this is power up, right? He's gonna get at least one more. Maybe the next power up is gonna be designed to not have this problem happen again. And whether that's gonna be good or bad, because like the first one was, I don't want anybody to die after Kiryu died, right? And then he got Mighty Brothers, and then he's like, we gotta stop Dan, who's an immortal asshole. And how do we do that without killing anyone? Sort of. And that was level 99. And like the next one, it's like, hopefully this sets up to that, but I have no idea what that's gonna be.
My best thing with this episode is the way it ended. You end up having this whole big twist because, Emu does everything he can not to kill Dan, to the point of literally just removing the fact that he, is a compatible user. And then Parade shows up and just kills him anyways. And it works with the line that Hiro tells him about how to deal with, the fact that how you deal with people who are lost is an important part of being a doctor, because that's not so much the idea of, oh, my patient died. It takes into the fact of you did everything you could, yet the outcome was still the same. So it with Hiro is telling him is like, yes, your patient died, but it wasn't your fault. You did everything you could. You did the right thing. Fate sucks, and how you deal with that is important to being able to continue and focus on being a doctor. And it works. This series for me so far has been perfect. I mean, it's got its issues when it first starts, but this series for me has done nothing but get better and better and better. I can't not wait to see how Parade's character grows and the explanation we get for him, because we still have nothing, and he's taking over as the bad guy, or seemingly. And how Kamen Rider Chronicle is gonna be altered, or if it will be altered, I should say, beyond Genham's ideas.
Yeah. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to say that, I mean, there's never a dull moment. I mean, the Christmas episode, yeah.
It was upbeat.
The crossover episode is gonna have meat and potatoes as well. So yeah, they're really just packing in as much story, but they're pacing it really freaking well. So yeah, shows has not disappointed.
The Christmas episode was fantastic until it decided to kick your heart in the testicles.
That's a writer's room,
and yeah, it's like this series has, for me, some of the most solid episodes, because while they have the, for lack of a better term, more story-driven episodes, it still seems well done with the way it's worked out. Nothing seems like, oh, okay, here we go. Let's get to the fighting. Like I felt I had with like Wizard and a few other series and Ghost and whatnot. It's like this one literally seems like from start to finish just fantastic. And from the looks of it, I think from the trailer, the next episode is, I guess, the crossover episode, because the trailer literally starts with Shishi Red from Q-Ranger.
That's cool. That's still gonna be a weird ass crossover. Also, like the whole thing of never ending is like, oh, this is how we work together. I'm like, that final pose was a Sentai pose to begin with. Like, do we need this crossover? Originally, actually, I thought level 99 was gonna be just like a one-off thing for the crossover, because it just looks like a Megazord form, right? For Rider. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I guess a couple things, like, yeah, this episode's solid. Shit, it's so solid, even Nico got to do something. besides just be a cheerleader or a smartass, which is like, help people when like some of the cops and stuff to get out of the place. I'm like, well, at least she's helping.
And she had creative input.
Yeah, fair enough.
When I first started the series, I didn't think it'd end up in my top 10, but I'm seriously I've been reconsidering that for a while now.
With this series, I'm reconsidering my top 10. Like, to the point of this is the further this series goes, the higher it gets on my list.
Wow, very few shows can top it right now. I mean, it's got like half or a third to go. So, anything could happen, especially with like, okay, Peridot's gonna be a villain and that mysterious CEO guy. Plus like Dan's dad's still around, so we have like potentially 3 bad guys. Potentially. At least 2 for sure. So it's like, who knows what the hell's gonna happen. But, hopefully it pans out. At this point, like everything they've tackled, well, almost. But like the vast majority of stuff that they've tackled and they've done good with, like the only thing left is like bringing some of the Fies drama of like, just because you're the enemy or some of the Kiva stuff, like you don't have to be the villain and stuff. That's basically all that's left. And if they can pull that off, the show pretty much stuck in like every single thing it could at that point. Thanks for joining us, everyone. See you next week.
See you next time.
Yep, thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. See you next time for episode 24. Embrace your ambitions and go together.